Welcome back. It's a family interest show today with John and Helen live. Next is the topic, impact of fathers on daughters. True confession time for me. I'm proudly a daddy's girl.
Same here.
And like I was saying while we were on break, my father passed on about 7-8 years ago. Until tomorrow, I wake up in the night and I begin to think of what it was, why we had him around. And I weep till tomorrow. You won't believe that. All right. Okay, so our guest on the show today needs very little introduction. She's Olufisayo Odebode, simply Fisayo Check, an author, a coach, a social entrepreneur. Our guest is passionate about rebuilding broken communities and restoring connections through music, lifestyle, and inspired ideas. I love that. She's a host of Roundtable with Fisayo, and it's a pleasure, a huge one, Fisayo, to have you join us again on this show. You were here before.
Yes.
And you look amazing.
Thank you.
So let's go straight to the matter. What's the thing with fathers and their daughters?
I mean, like during the break, she was talking about things her dad, would do around them. And it's memorable for her today. Fathers and daughters are like first loves. Like a daughter's first love is their father. So it's important for a child, any child, not to even talk of a female child, having a present father in their life. That's their first idea of what a male person is, what a male individual is. That's their first idea of a responsible father, lover, seeing how their father is involved in their mother's life and all that. So it's like, it's beautiful. I even see videos on Instagram, all those, lovey mushy stuff between fathers and daughters. So, I mean, I think it's a love affair, and it's very critical essential to the growth and the formative years of a female child, having a present father.
Okay, that's the early years.
Yeah.
All right. So how does the presence of a supportive and involved father figure affect a daughter's self-esteem and confidence? And where do we draw the balance? Because we hear a lot of scary stories around us now, things happening between the fathers and the daughters. Two questions in one.
Very essential, the role of a father, in the life of a daughter. And when we talk about the self-esteem, there is this, even if you see the way Christians talk about, the presence of God to them as a father, it's so essential because it gives you an identity. You feel like you belong somewhere. Somebody calls you their child, their daughter, you have a sense of belonging. You start to form an image of yourself from childhood, and that boosts your confidence as you grow, because you can say confidently that I have a father. You can say confidently that this is who this person is to me. The person supports, how they've provided. I'm not talking about provision because you want to feel like, I'm doing better than my friend.
Yeah.
There are some fathers that would go like to any length. It's important that they do, but for what reason? Is it because you feel like it matters to the child, or it makes you just feel like it does something to your ego that you are able to provide? That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about catering to the needs, to the social needs of a child, such that as they grow, they understand that they are not alone. They have somebody that they belong to. And that person has epitomized what it means to be a responsible person in a society. That person has led them, through difficult challenges in life. I personally, I love my father to death, but I would have expected, I think we talked about some of this the last time that I came. There are some things that I'm seeing and I'm like, oh, I wish, But I will be more careful, at least, in picking a life partner, looking for certain stuff, because even for a daughter, like I said, the father is the first point of contact of what a responsible man is. And so as they grow, they're almost like recreating the environment that they grew in. So it's almost so easy for you to pick a man that
looks like
Your father, exactly.
So, like, when I meet someone now, I can tell when somebody is like my father, and I usually say, I'm like, I must run away from you. You are behaving like my father, But that's because I'm now more aware of certain things. It's almost natural for you to gravitate towards, that person because the person is showing signs of what you are familiar with, what you've known all your life. Yeah.
Interesting, because I just feel like now, especially a lot of the importance of fatherhood is just underestimated. So, and I like what you said about how many fathers just feel like, for their ego, I've paid your school fees, I've paid the house rent, I've paid the this, don't trouble my soul, just, go and meet your mother, that kind of thing. How do we begin to educate men? And it's interesting that it's all three of us on this, talking about this topic, are women. We're daughters that realize the impact of our fathers in our lives. But how do we begin to educate our sons and the men in our lives to become better fathers? Because the emphasis is on good fathers, good involved father. Because there are some people that they're just father, but I'm sorry, it's just
they're not there.
They're not there. Do you understand? So how do we begin to educate this positive fatherhood and thing that we want to see, in our lives and in our men's lives?
First, I'll say having these kind of conversations and encouraging people who have had it, whether rough or amazing, to share their stories. Because I have male friends, and the more they hear, I've shared some of my stories with them, the more they hear this, the more it says something to them, if you are really genuine and you want to be a better person, and you're hearing things that have gone, that has happened around you, you want to make sure that you don't end up doing those kind of things. So having these conversations are very pivotal to helping men, around, because it's difficult to just, what we say about men, to just tell a man that, even, people who are married, to just tell their men that, this is what I expect you to do, this is what I expect you to do. If you're committed to the person, you want to make changes, you want to try and ensure that you do right by them. But having these conversations are essential. Today now, I know there is an event that is going on called the Mandate. It's about, helping men to be more purposeful, to be more intentional. We have a lot of women events out there, but how many men events do we have?
Exactly.
And that's why I say these conversations are very important. For the parents as well, we in our environment, we do a lot of, you must be this to the women, to the girl child, for your husband, you must know how to take care, you must take a lot of investment in the girl child. And now we see a lot of single women, because they are finding it difficult to meet their match, because they've been so invested in, and they are finding it difficult to partner with someone who looks like, yes, you are educated, but I can't feel the investment of a higher figure, higher authority in you. So for so many good men out there right now, they have taken it upon themselves to do better for themselves and to be more responsible. So parents, we need to encourage parents to do better by the children, by the male child. I don't know why. But growing up, there was a lot of, you sit down in the kitchen. That's why I appreciate women who make their, their sons sit in the kitchen, do the dishes. Anything the female child can do, the male child should be able to do
it too.
Yeah. So because when you get married, you now start to pick. I've seen a lot of healthy marriages where it's not just about the capacity of a man, but the strength of the man in that marriage. We understand that, yes, the woman is more nurturing, is more of the home manager, the man is more of the provider, is more of the protector and everything, but it's everybody's role to create a sense of stability
in the home.
So the question is, what are your strengths as a woman, as this person that you are? What are your strengths? Forget as a woman. What are your strengths individually? What are your strengths? Bring that to the table. What are your strengths as a man? So if all you are focused on is cooking, cleaning the home and everything, and there's so much potential in you that was not unraveled You now just stay with the kitchen, and then you are not able to do better for your children because that's all you know. Just cook, feed.
Things that I will just always tell people now that in as much as it's essential, but I always like, especially with things that can be outsourced. So cooking now, you can outsource somebody to cook for you, you can outsource somebody to clean for you, but there's an essence you bring into your child or your partner's life that cannot be outsourced. So you need to begin to focus, on that. Because I just feel like the woman's job is to clean the house, cook and everything. But if I have a cleaner and a cook, can I focus on
something else you can do?
Bring to the table?
Yeah, is there something else you can do
other than that?
How much support? What forms of support can you provide to the child aside just feeding the child?
Okay. In some part of this country, the Ada, that's the first daughter, occupies a very special position in the family. Expectations are so high of her. Bearing that in mind, I'd like to ask you, this thing about father and the daughter, is it a myth? Is it a myth? How? What is it about it? Is it a myth that the father and the daughter connects better in a lot of situations, And how does that help later on? Like you were sharing that when you meet a guy now and you see a bit of daddy in him, you run away, and I'm like, shouldn't you gravitate towards him instead of running away? What does it,
I mean, my dad is amazing, but I don't know if I had high expectations or something. And the beautiful thing is that now that I'm an adult, I'm more graceful, towards him, towards everyone around, because I understand that, you can't give what you don't have.
Exactly. If he knew better, he would do better.
It's not a myth. Even the daughters help the fathers.
Okay.
They help them to be more responsible, because you are thinking, whatever I'm doing in this house is what this child is going to see as normal.
Okay.
So you yourself as a man, you know that this girl will soon get into teenagehood, adulthood, will start meeting men, for someone who is a father who is present and careful and concerned, who is really intentional about building the home, you start to pay attention to some of the things that you are doing. And daughters, when they are young, with their mouth, they will say, Daddy, why did you that? Even the quiet ones, if you are present and they can have conversations with you, they will say things to you and they'll put you in check. It's almost like mentoring and a mentor and a protege. You understand? But it's not a myth. My father is my first love. Even now that I'm saying that, that's because things are clearer, and then you're like, okay, you understand. He's my first love. I remember the days I would sit on his lap. He'll put his headphones on my ear. Those are beautiful memories. But it didn't last so long. He's still alive, but I guess there was something fascinating about me then as a child, and as I started to grow. And then I saw some other things that I was not so excited about. So it's not a myth. It's opposite sex, know. And that's why, like you were saying, the line has to be drawn. It has to be drawn.
So time now, because my director is telling me that we have to. Let me just take a final question.
Yes.
How does a father's presence or absence affect a daughter's emotional well-being?
We're talking about stability. If you know that you have a father and he's present in your life, there's just something it does to you. In fact, the long-term effect of that is that you don't ever feel lonely. Or without even when you become an adult and you are doing life with somebody else, you are reminded every time that you can always go back to somebody who cares for you, and is concerned about your well-being. So you want to say something? No. Yeah. So it has a long-term effect on the child, even on the grandchildren, because you still take on those things. And if you see daughters who have very good relationship with their fathers, they their grandchildren have fantastic relationships with them. Because you are thinking, my children must benefit
from this.
From what I got here. It's not about the money he gave to me.
Yeah, so
it's
true.
about the guidance, the presence, the support,
the love,
the investment that was made in me. These children must get this. My husband is amazing, but this man does not have enough, he does not have much time anymore. He must get it. Do you understand? So you can't overestimate or emphasize the value of a father in the life of a daughter.
Thank you so much. This has been a refreshing, we should take a public opinion on this subject. We should go out on the street and ask people, the impact that their father have, had. And I'm so sure that we'll be amazed by the, responses that we will get. Thank you so much, Visaya. It's always refreshing when we have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love being here too.
And enjoy your Father's Day with your dad, because you still have him around.
He's still around, and I still intend to have him for.
You see, all through this conversation, I mean, I was cool because I was the presence of my father all over here. Seriously, I went down memory lane,
Wow.
if you know what I mean. And my dad has been gone for a long time, like I say, but he's here. And I remember the basics, the different times we shared together, and how supportive he was. I went into any trouble knowing that if I called my father, he's coming right away. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll move on and play. Let's get to the gym and catch more fun. Dolly Phillips is our guide. And for me, we're having
Pharaoh. She's going to be talking about how we're navigating today with the fuel price increase and everything that's happened, recently, just staying on a budget.
Okay, but right about now, let's join them. Dolly Phillips in the gym.